Welcome to the Waxing Comical podcast. I am Dane.
That's Dane.
Hi.
And I'm Luke.
No.
No?
No.
You say now?
That's pretty much all I say, to be honest. So today's episode, I don't know when you're listening to this, you might be some sort of nether beast listening to it in a cave.
Right now's episode.
Right now's episode. Welcome to this episode of the thing. We're gonna talk. We were like, it's supposed to be horror comics, but I don't know. What do we spend like half the episode talking about that? Maybe.
I think we got most of it. Most of the episode was horror in some way.
Okay.
Because the first 20 minutes was
I got off track
Ash.
like a lot.
We talked about Ash versus Evil Dead, which isn't comics, but it's still the horror
They
genre.
make Army Darkness comics.
Well, but we weren't talking about those.
Shut up.
Maybe we should have. But I haven't read them, so I wouldn't have had much to contribute.
That's fair. Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash was good.
Was it really?
Yeah. Ash wins.
Seems like it wouldn't be.
It was good.
Alright.
I didn't read the second one, which I heard wasn't as good. But
you just said he wins. Why would there be another one?
Because they're supernatural monsters. They don't die.
Then he didn't win.
One of them lives in dreams. You can't kill dreams.
You can take him out of the dreams.
You're not Stalin.
You don't know that.
Seems like something he would have done. I don't know that, but you don't have a mustache.
Give it time. So yeah, horror comics. That's what we talk about.
Yeah.
Don't know that we spoiled anything too badly, except for Severed. You went pretty in depth on that.
Yeah, I did. Talking about Orientals and whatnot.
Just the one, I think. One Oriental.
Hey, that's... Oh, jeez, I was about to say that's bad enough. But that would have been racist. I just want people to know I'm not a racist. It's just the jokes come to my head very quickly.
At least not towards Orientals.
Not towards anyone, just...
Because they make such great food.
I make fun of everybody, so I think that makes it okay. White people, mostly white people, actually. I throw the word honky around like it's something you throw around a lot, beach ball, at a concert.
It doesn't make it okay. It's just not something that any one person can get more offended at than any other person.
It's perfectly okay to say honky. What are they going to do? Have a million-man march?
But whites...
Yeah, that's like a bad scene. You'll be called a racist if you're in a white million-man march. So I win, I think, is my thesis here.
At being a little bit less racist?
Yeah, that not actually, maybe it's something. Not a racist.
Oh, one thing I did want to mention was Comic Bento.
Yeah.
Which is a mystery box service like Loot Crate, if you've heard of that. But if not, then you probably haven't heard of Comic Bento either. But it's just a mystery box of comics that you can get every month for like $20 and get more than $60 worth of comics.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I had two of them, and I didn't really care about one of them. But one that I didn't already have that I was interested in, because it's Mark Waid. Well, I'm not going to, I guess, I probably shouldn't say what is in it, because
I think it's...
Then again, it's not like we have like a viewer base.
Well, yeah, but it's also like you can't order this last month's one now. It's not going to be a mystery anymore. Anyway,
Mark Waid's Green Hornet. Don't really care about Green Hornet, but it's Mark Waid, so yeah, I'm happy to give it a try. It was $20 cover price, which basically covers the price of the box.
Yeah.
Plus, I got 3 other comics.
Yeah, the only one I had was I didn't have any of them. The only one I had read was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I had Captain Marvel, I have Harbinger, but I was able to switch it out because it's the new, like, Valiant does like a new format for the spines, so I just basically replaced it in my bookshelf so it looks newer, and then I don't really give a crap about Tom Morello's comic.
I'll try it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably read it at some point, but it's not something I'm like, ooh, this was worth it, but just the Green Hornet alone is, I'm very pleased with my purchase.
Apparently the theme of the next month is button mashers or video games, which I don't know how many comics would actually fit that.
How many comics aren't Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah, but on the other hand, this month it was masks and it looked like there was only one of the comics was actually about a masked hero.
I mean, Hornet. Captain Marvel wears a mask sometimes.
He's kind of got a helmet.
Yeah, and in Harbinger, Peter does not wear a mask.
Yeah.
And I think Tom Morello's comic wasn't even a superhero comic.
Yeah. So it seems like it's a pretty general term, whatever the subject is.
Somebody playing a video game on one panel.
Yeah. I mean, did you read the little card that comes with it?
I skimmed it.
Because, like, she gave her reasons for picking each one, and then half of them were just like, masks, we all have our masks to hide behind. Sometimes you hide behind a mask, and it's not a real mask, but it's like a mask.
I don't like metaphors when they're like that, when it's like, I'm philosophical. Like, I love that bit in the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, where Gwen is, like, leaving the Oscorp Tower, like, during the finale, and her dad goes up, and she's like, no, you don't understand, Peter, and he's like, no, I get it, your boyfriend's a man of many masks. And he says it just like, I get it. I thought that was really funny.
It would have been funnier if that was something that she had said, like, several times throughout the movie, and he didn't really get it. He just was anticipating her saying it once again. I don't like that
Parker kid. Well, you know, Dad, he's a man of many masks.
He works in a mask store. I get it.
Like an episode of Goosebumps.
That was scary.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be for children, especially the second one where it was like the old man mask. Yeah, that still freaks me out, and I'm an adult.
Yeah. You see the movie?
No, I didn't.
Plan to?
Nope.
But it's Jack Black.
It's certainly Jack Black.
All right. Well.
Yeah, that's the episode. See you next week.
Keep watching the show. Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
You're talking about watching the show. This is an audio medium,
which I will upload. I will have uploaded to YouTube with a picture.
Okay, that's not watching it. You'd have to be like autistic to just sit there for an hour staring at the picture of Nick Spencer.
Maybe that should be our demographic.
Autistics?
Yeah. So here comes the episode. Follow us on Twitter at Waxing Comical.
Drop us a line.
Yeah.
Just tell us stuff.
We're on YouTube, because everyone reads YouTube comments, because that's the best.
Yeah, just don't put the N-word, please.
Yeah, please. We know, like, we're racist, but don't stoop to our level. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, enjoy the episode.
Bye. Says our connection speed is medium. Oh, now it's fast. Okay, we're good. Forever. I can't imagine it'll get worse ever again.
No, it'd be stupid. It'd be downright retarded. And I can say that because my gardener is a huge one.
You said that before.
Yeah, and it was just as funny then.
Is that from something? Should I know that?
Yeah, that was in Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Was it?
His boss said it to him at the Value Save Mart.
I think I must have blinked.
The best joke of the episode. Well, second best joke of the episode. I still love the juice box thing. I don't know why. I love that.
It's not really a dancing.
Joke. I know. It's fun. It's just a fun little thing that happened. CGI could have been a lot better, but I won't hold it against it.
A little bit. It was mostly fine. The doll was the only thing that I thought was
the doll,
lacking.
And then there was when I forgot who someone got their head blown off, like close up. It might.
I guess it was the other cop.
It might have been because like his neck flap looked really fake. I would have preferred more practical effects because that's like kind of what those movies are known for.
Yeah, those tend to be better.
Yeah, especially when it's Evil Dead because they go like over the top.
Yeah, overall though it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. You still haven't seen the remake, right? I think we talked about that.
No, I haven't seen the remake.
Okay, so that uses like almost entirely practical effects.
It doesn't happen very much anymore.
No, it doesn't. I mean, like if it wasn't an Evil Dead movie, they probably wouldn't have bothered. But because, it's a remake of Evil Dead, reimagining whatever,
yeah,
they were like, okay, let's do that. I think Devil's Rejects used mostly practical as well. That was a good movie.
Just real corpses.
Just real corpses all over the place.
And that happened with that one movie, Cannibal Holocaust, in the 80s, where everyone, upon seeing the movie, thought that the cast had just been murdered.
So they had to go to court and prove that they were alive and that they could realistically do the effects that they did. That happened with Charlie Sheen turned in a what he thought was a snuff film to the FBI, or told them about it or something. It turned out it was a Japanese movie. It was just 40 minutes of this guy in samurai armor saying poetry and torturing a woman to death.
Sounds like a great movie.
It was okay.
Pretty typical Japanese fare.
Pretty much. It was called Flowers of Flesh and Blood.
That title does not give away anything from that movie.
He puts her body, he grows plants from her body, I think.
While she's still alive?
Yeah. Well, she's dead after she dies.
Okay. Because that'd be some
body parts.
Impressive gardening.
The torture is him dismembering her. It's pretty gross.
I don't even think that's torturing. That's just a very slow killing.
Yeah, same thing.
But I guess I didn't really go in with any expectations for Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead. So
my expectation was all awesome all the time.
Figured Ash would be in it, and some Evil Dead would be in it, and they would be up against each other.
Well, the thing that bothers me is that the title is technically Ash vs. Evil Dead, which sounds really stupid.
Not The Evil Dead.
Yeah, because until I saw it or heard it pronounced on the channel, I just automatically called it Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and then it was welcome to the premiere of Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's the name of a movie.
Yeah, they're just kind of. It's not even throwing franchises together because it's just one franchise, but it's like Alien versus Predator. I don't think anyone ever says Predator in those movies. It's just kind of the name of the movie.
Yeah, because that's not even their alien race name. It's something with a Y, I think.
I don't actually know.
I don't either.
But
I looked it up a while ago, but I don't remember why. But I don't remember what it actually was. And the aliens are xenomorphs.
Yeah, I know that one. Same thing. It's just Ash versus the movie Evil Dead.
Even though the movie was called The Evil Dead.
Was it?
It wasn't until the second one they called it Evil Dead 2.
They're just all over the place.
That'd been great. Ash versus Evil Dead 2. I know in the opening credits for Army of Darkness, it comes up as Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness.
That's even worse. Did they actually make, or were they just talking about making that My Name is Bruce? I think it was called, where it was going to be Bruce Campbell as himself fighting.
Yeah, they made that a long time ago.
They made that? Okay. I never saw that.
He actually fought a Chinese warlord. Sorry, undead Chinese warlord.
Oh, so it was Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah, but in a little hick town. They were supposed to make a second one called Bruce versus Frankenstein or something, and they never did. Same with Bubba Hotep, actually. They were supposed to make a second Bubba Hotep called Bubba Nosferatu, where it was young Elvis on the set of a movie that was never released fighting vampires.
Wait, so it was going to be a sequel where he played the same character he played before, but younger?
But young, yeah. Because he played young Elvis in the first one, too, in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I need to watch that movie again. That was a good movie.
Was My Name is Bruce any good?
Yeah, My Name is Bruce was good. I can't believe you haven't seen that or are aware it exists.
I was aware of it, and then I forgot about it and couldn't remember if it was just something I had heard about.
Something you just dreamed up?
Just a fever dream.
I think Ted Raimi plays a Chinese gravekeeper or something in that movie. Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like something Ted Raimi would do, but that his brother would ask him not to do, and then he'd do it anyway. He'd just show up in costume, and there's no one else there that day, so...
Oh no, he did his own makeup.
And it's bad. It's just bad. He's just got tape holding his eyes to the sides.
Oh god.
Damn it, Ted.
So yeah, Ash versus Evil Dead was good.
Yeah.
Didn't expect like the full on sex scene that happened like 3 minutes into it.
For quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nor for him to continue doing it after she had the face of a zombie.
To be fair, he did look worried.
Just for like a second, though.
He probably didn't enjoy it too much afterwards.
And of course, I mean her actual zombie face, not just what she looked like beforehand.
Which was, yeah.
She wasn't that old.
Barfly.
But she was also clearly older than she was trying to look.
And Lucy Lawless showed up.
In an inexplicable cameo, like...
Oh no, she's like a main character.
Not yet.
Yeah,
that was just her showing up in a diner and just telling a woman that she's not crazy, even though she doesn't know her.
Yeah, right? And how did she know that she saw the little girl with zombie face?
Oh, I just don't know what I'm seeing. Don't worry. You know what you're seeing. How do you know that? You can't know that. You don't know me.
It is technically a hallucination. It's just, it has a cause.
Yeah, but one that Lucy Lawless shouldn't know about.
Yeah, well, people are saying that she might be... You've seen Evil Dead 2, right?
Yeah, but it was a long time ago, I think.
Yeah, whatever.
People are saying at least I've seen bits and pieces of it.
She might be the daughter of the professor, either the one who died in the movie or, like, I guess maybe a different one. I don't know. I mean, she could also not be anyone from anything.
I hope it's just Lucy Lawless, like as herself.
Her name's Ruby.
Ruby Rawrus.
Ted Raimi, you done it again.
Is he involved in this?
He wasn't in it, so I guess not.
Yet.
Yeah.
He was.
I know Sam Raimi directed the first episode. You what?
Ted Raimi was in Xena.
Was he? Apparently. He was in the Spider-Man movies.
Technically.
No, totally. He played Jameson's like assistant guy. Not his assistant. That was Betty Brant. But he played like his lackey guy.
Yeah. What did he do? What was his job there?
He was just like a general sort of guy
like
at the newspaper.
Like a 40-year-old coffee boy.
Yeah, and he
gopher.
He was part of the ad campaign in the third movie that they talked about, where it was like, it's like one of the things that makes.
What did they put him on billboards? Did they put Ted Raimi's face on billboards?
They were presenting like a slogan basically to Jonah Jameson, and it was like I might not get this right, but it was like it's new, it's now, it's wow, and how. I think that might be it.
Hungry for apples?
Yeah, basically. And it's like he's going through it, like he's picking it apart for Jameson and telling him like, the ad guys came up with that one. That was actually my personal touch. And he's like it's one of the things that makes me think that I'm not sure if those movies are based in the present day, or at least when they came out, like the mid 2000s, because nobody has cell phones. It seems like. Peter lives in like a little one-room... Well, I guess it's New York, so that kind of makes sense. Peter lives in like a one-room apartment. And they said, and how? Just
and
that.
How?
Also, it's a newspaper.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
And jazz clubs. There's a jazz club.
Which, I didn't really think about that, but that's going to become... it's probably going to be a big problem for like Spider-Man and Superman stories in the near future, when newspapers just aren't a thing anymore.
Well, they in Ultimate Spider-Man, they had him like, he was like the web designer for the Daily Bugle.
You proud of yourself?
That's what he called him. That's what he was. That's not me.
Yeah, I guess that'll probably be the direction it takes. They'll just be internet newspapermen.
Write articles on the internets.
Blogs, Dane. They're called blogs.
They'll be writing for BuzzFeed.
Ugh.
That awkward moment when you're Superman and someone's crying for help, but you're in line at Starbucks.
And that's going to be how someone figures it out. Clark Kent knows what it's like to be Superman? And has all the relevant gifts?
Where he wrote like a song for Pat Boone, And the song was about like an ode to Superman, and the first letter of every line spelled out Clark Kent. Which is like, I think he mentioned in the article, but it's like he wrote the song. It's not going to mean anything. Like it's like public knowledge that he wrote the song. It's not going to mean anything if his name is in it, even so stupidly as that.
So subliminally.
So I think we're talking about horror. Oh wait, no, let's talk about the Preacher trailer first.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, so the trailer for Preacher premiered last night with Walking Dead. I still haven't actually watched the episode, but I watched the trailer.
Yeah, I watched that earlier.
And
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's also like...
I'm at the episode, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll watch it probably tomorrow. The trailer is not bad, but it's... One, there wasn't a single recognizable scene from the comic, which is kind of disappointing if you're like a big fan of the comic.
Falling out of the plane. That's about it.
That was Cassidy.
Oh. Why? What? Why?
Because there's the whole... Because that bit where he's dressed up as a guy with a vest and with his hair.
They can change clothes.
He was in a plane, like the bit where he throws the knife. That's like the pilot he's killing. You can see the cockpit behind him. So and then the guy who jumps out of the plane is dressed. It's obviously Cassidy. So which is one of the things that makes me think that maybe he's an agent for the Grail. Like that was some mission, and then they'd send him to wherever the hell Jesse is to
Texas.
spy on him. I meant like the town, but yeah, Texas. To spy on Jesse, and then they become friends. So he quits the Grail, but that would come up. I'm assuming this is all my assumptions, but also you heard it here first because that's probably what's going to happen. That's that. Oh, but yeah. So the trailer, it's not one recognizable scene. If you had what would you say the plot of the show is? If you hadn't read the comics, just based on that trailer.
That there's a preacher who used to be a hitman, maybe, and or I guess still is, since all we see is a kid asking him to hurt his dad, and he's like, "That's a sin," but okay, sure, why not? Basically, that he's just a drunk preacher, that's the only thing that seems to go, and that this other Irish guy has something going on in his life that we don't know about, and they both get thrown in jail together.
Well, what I would say for the based on that, just the trailer, I'd say the plot is that he used to be a criminal, and now he's put that life behind him, and he's become a preacher, but with a dark past, and that Cassidy, the Irish guy, knows him from who he used to be, and comes to the town and makes trouble for him. That's what I would say the plot is, and it's just going to be Breaking Bad moments of someone's about to figure out his secret, and it's just going to be nerve-wracking, a 10-minute scene where someone's about to find something, and then he has to go kill someone. That's what I would say the plot would have been.
And this Irish guy is just some totally normal guy that likes hanging out in the sunlight and stuff.
There is a scene, it's like a blink and you'll miss it, literally, because a split second of a tiny montage of stuff that was basically in that 13-second teaser of the teaser, where Cassidy has his hand out and it's on fire.
Yeah, I did see that.
Literally the only whiff of supernatural we get
was that
in the trailer.
In the main trailer or just a little teaser?
It was in both.
Yeah,
but
I didn't see
the exact same amount. It was gone.
Hmm.
So I guess he's still a vampire. But we have no indication of anything supernatural, of Genesis, of the Santa Killers, which I still haven't heard anything about the Santa Killers, so I'm hoping he's going to be in it.
Wasn't there some very young actor set to be cast as him originally?
Yeah, that was back when the guy who made that Shia LaBeouf movie, Disturbia, I think, was going to make it. It was Alex Pettyfor, I think, and he's
Pettyfors are small desserts.
Pretty sure that's his name. Also, he was 20 when that casting came out. It was oh, he's going to play the Santa Killers in this.
The Santa Killers is an 80-year-old looking.
Yeah,
ghost man.
He looks like Clint Eastwood with long hair.
Yeah,
but also 7 feet tall.
Was he?
He was pretty big. I think he was supernaturally big because when he faced down Jesse, his head was a half a size bigger, like 1.5 times Jesse's head.
Maybe Jesse's just really short.
Jesse's a big guy.
I mean, It's not a bad thing. It's not disparaging. Wolverine's tiny. Wolverine's the biggest badass.
We barely saw any Tulip. She didn't get any lines either.
Yeah, she fought someone off. Looked like that might have been Star.
No, that was some fat bald guy. I think it was probably the scene from when she first shows up and tries to kill that guy. So I'm sure it's, instead of her shooting a guy through the cheek and running away, I'm sure it'll be like she gets into a scuffle with him, and that'll be about it.
Seems like it.
Well, people said like I was looking at the comments on the YouTube video, and surprisingly no N-words.
That was a mistake.
People insulted gay people. It was just people like, hey, this is why it's different. And someone did mention no Hair Star, but it's like Hair Star doesn't show up until like halfway through the second book. It would be stupid if he was in the pilot. Maybe like one little tiny scene of like the Grail, just to see like, oh, there's something out there that might be after Jesse later, but he wouldn't be like a main character, at least in the first season.
Maybe. You know what wouldn't be stupid to show in the first trailer?
What?
Genesis, or the church exploding, or
an
anything.
Angel, just anything supernatural.
An angel and a demon fucking.
That does seem like a good thing to show on the trailer.
That would get people hooked.
So I asked some friends what they thought, because nobody besides you and me that I know of, and my friend Sarah, but she like is never online, have actually read it. So I was showing it to people, and I was like, so what do you think it's about? I pretty much got all the same responses. It's about a preacher who fights people. That's all anyone can seem to get. No one's even mentioned Cassidy, so
well, they're not wrong.
Yeah, I said that. You're technically right. It's just not what the plot is.
I really need to reread it, because that was, like, it might have been the first full comic series that I read, because it was one of the first that you lent me.
Yeah. That must have been probably after high school, but like that'd be like 2010.
Yeah, either late 2009 or 2010. So, and I haven't read it since then. So that is definitely.
I read it again, either early this year or late last year, but I might read it again soon.
Does it hold up?
Oh my god, it holds up. That was like the fifth or sixth time I've read it.
Nice.
It's my favorite comic of all time.
It's pretty fantastic. I don't know a whole lot of Garth Ennis's stuff other than
The Boys.
Just that and The Boys. And I know he wrote some Constantine that you mentioned.
Yeah, that's right.
Hellblazer. Anything else big that he's written?
Punisher Max. And Punisher. Regular Punisher.
That's right. I didn't hear about that.
Hitman he wrote, which I still haven't read, but is apparently really, really good.
Hitman?
Yeah.
Like, based on the game, or unrelated?
No, like DC character. He was in like one issue of Grant Morrison's JSA because he wanted to use his X-ray vision on Wonder Woman.
Did he?
Yeah.
Do he and Superman have like a little shoulder nudge?
I don't think he interacts with Superman, but they do have an issue together in Garth Ennis' run that apparently a lot of people really liked and made a lot of people like Superman.
He's like, hey, X-ray vision, huh? I got that. You, And then Superman kills him or something. I don't know. I assume he's not as strong if his name's just Hitman.
I think he's got. I'm not sure. Because obviously, I still haven't read it. But he's got some superpowers. He's got the X-ray vision. I want to say he probably has like some sort of augmented strength. No.
But he's not Superman.
No, he's not Superman.
Nobody is Superman.
Few people are. Supergirl is Superman.
Can Supergirl hold up against Superman?
Yeah, definitely. Probably. I don't know. I mean, I think any Kryptonian can hold up against any other Kryptonian because I think they all pretty much just have the same level of strength. Like, they don't get stronger like Invincible.
I mean, I would expect that would be like saying any teenage girl can take any buff 30-year-old man just because they're both human.
Well, no, because they don't have super strength granted by the sun. Superman's not strong.
I just assumed it's scaled.
He has bigger muscles. I don't think it's scaled at all. I think it's just everyone gets one level of strength.
All right. You gonna watch the new Supergirl series?
No, not at all. See, I would have if it sounded interesting. It just looks like any rom-com that's ever come out, where it's like, here, this is a business lady and she needs to learn how to have fun, but with superpowers.
The devil wears a cape.
I think someone described her boss as a Devil Wears Prada like boss. It's Ally McBeal. Because like Supergirl in the New 52 is awesome because she's like just in the beginning. She like just comes to Earth. She doesn't even talk English. She's like basically like a feral Kryptonian. It's awesome.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, she's really rad. But like this is like in this. Okay, Supergirl TV, without watching it, I know, just based on the commercials, I know that it's literally just a female version of Superman, which Supergirl isn't. Like, she's a different character. She came to Earth already as, like, a grown sentient human. Or grown sentient person. Because, like, she knows that her planet's gone. She's lived on Krypton before.
Now,
how does
that happen?
Like,
Isn't she... How much younger is she than Superman?
She's technically older, but she was, I guess because space travel or something, she... is physically younger.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot the reason, but she was born, but like she was like a teenager when when Krypton was destroyed.
Okay. I can accept that then. Space travel, like in Planet of the Apes, they don't age over the hundreds of years that they're on
the Planet of Apes.
In the spaceship, leaving the planet of the apes and then returning to the Planet of the Apes. I don't know. I'll probably at least watch the first episode of Supergirl, just to give it a fair chance. I don't expect much from it, but...
I keep considering it, but oh my god, it just looks so bad.
I don't plan to do it anytime soon, but I figure I will eventually, just because I don't want to talk bad about it without having watched it. Because honestly, I thought kind of the same thing about Arrow at the beginning. Like, oh, this is a CW show. It's just going to be a lot of drama, soap opera type stuff.
Which it kind of is, but like...
It kind of is, but they pulled it off. So, I figure I'll give Supergirl a chance to... and hope.
Jeez, I don't know. I want to watch it just so I can talk about it and make fun of it more accurately, but I also don't want that in my brain.
We'll just unwatch it later.
Well, like what's gonna get kicked out of my memories for that? Like, what if an episode of a good show I forget because I watched Supergirl?
What's your favorite food?
Probably burgers.
The taste of burgers.
No, thank you. What else are we talking about? We talked about Preacher.
Horror comics. Horror
comics. Yeah, like only halfway into the podcast.
Preacher's got vampires. That's it
has
kind
vampire, and then it has a bog witch, and then it has a dick vampire. I really like. If I can have one thing from the show, change whatever you want, but please have an entire episode that is the issue where Cassidy meets that other vampire. That's my favorite story in all of Preacher.
So is it set to be like one season and that's it?
So far, I mean it's got one season so far. I don't think it's gonna only be one season.
Yeah.
It seems like the kind of thing that's probably gonna be pretty popular.
Yeah, but I hope they are able to just to get the story out of the comic and then end it.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. I was thinking about that earlier. I really hope that they don't drag it on. I hope that, like, 4 or 5 seasons should be good.
Yeah, that'd probably be more than enough.
Even 3 to 5. Yeah, it's more than enough, because they're obviously, adding a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be in that town for, like, a while, not just the first issue.
I think 3 would be a good size, just have, like, a 3-act sort of structure.
Yeah, last season could be... Because, I mean, it's 9 volumes, so that works out pretty well.
Yeah.
For, like, the last season could be... Because my other favorite story is when Jesse is the sheriff of that little town. And that could be, like, the first half of the last season. And the second half would be finding out Cassidy's backstory and then confronting him at the Alamo.
Yeah. How long is the first season supposed to be?
10 episodes.
Alright. Could be longer.
Well, I think it's going to be a summer show. I think the summer ones at AMC are always 10 episodes. Like that Halt and Catch Fire.
Never seen it.
Me neither. But it's got Ronan the Accuser in it. He's so handsome.
Oh, his eyebrows.
Right? Like giant caterpillars, but like several of them stacked together. In their combat form.
Very imposing.
He's not British?
I think I found that out and was surprised, yeah.
Me too. Why is that?
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, because like I totally was like, oh, okay, he's a British actor.
I mean, I haven't seen him in that much. There was him as Ronan, which it's not like he had a British accent, but it
was like kind of what the Joker does when Mark Hamill plays him. It's like fancy,
yeah,
but it's not quite British. It was kind of Britishy in Guardians. I don't know.
But then he was in he was in The Hobbit, which is essentially British, and I don't think I've seen him in anything else. So
he was in the show my mom used to watch called Pushing Daisies, I think. He played like a guy who could kill people by touching them.
Okay, I did see some of that.
I think it was a comedy.
He could like bring people back to life by touching them, but then he had to touch them again and kill them within a certain time frame, or else someone else would die.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I think like his girlfriend or girl he was in love with as a kid died, and so he brought her back to life and didn't want her to die again. But when he didn't kill her, his dad died instead.
Did he then kill her?
No, I think it was too late at that point.
Oh, did she gets their life and continues on?
Apparently, yeah.
I wasn't sure if like maybe every of that time limit another person dies.
No.
Like a Saw game.
I think it just kind of switches. But so then like now he can't touch her because that would kill her.
Aww.
Yeah. I watched
Lee
like
Pace.
a couple of episodes. I don't know how long that went on.
Imagine not being able to be touched by Lee Pace. Like, what would even be the point?
It haunts me every day.
What were we talking about?
Speaking of terrifying things.
Yeah. Horror comics.
Horror comics.
Well, you're the one who was like, Preacher got some horror stuff in it. Anyway, horror comics. Let's see, I reread Outcast over the weekend. First 2 volumes of that, because that's all that exists so far. And that's actually every issue, because they haven't released issue 13 yet.
Is this going to be another one of those things? Are they not going to release anymore, and you've gotten me sucked
no.
into
They're going to release more. It's just they haven't released the next issue yet. I think it's one of those ones that they release the storyline, and then they take like a month or 2 off, and then release the next storyline. Which he said he was going to do with Invincible, but I feel like Invincible has been more consistent lately than it has been in a long time. Like since I started reading it.
Yeah.
Like he was like, it's going to be 6 issues, and then we'll take a break, and then 6 more issues. But it feels like it's been really like quick recently, like the last year or so.
Been pretty good.
Which I'm fine with. Please keep doing that.
When did the last Outcast come out?
I want to say a month or 2 ago, because I know the second volume came out in October, like halfway through, so it must have been like September, I guess. Which sucks because it ended on a cliffhanger.
Don't tell me. I've only read the first volume.
Okay, let's talk about that one then.
Which was still great.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I heard about it and I was like, I'm not really into demon possession stuff. But then the first volume was $10, so I was like, okay. But I really like the art, which is weird because I don't like the artist. Not like as a person. I'm sure he's a fine man. But I mean, like, he did some issues of Spider-Man. I said I'm sure he's a fine man. I didn't say I know he's a fine man.
That means the same thing.
Shut up. He did some issues of Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, just continue, please.
Okay. I like the penciling, that part of the art, but I'm not crazy about the coloring, because just...
Yeah, I took that into consideration when you told me that, because I reread it after that. And at the beginning, it's definitely a lot gloomier, but as it goes on, it gets... I don't know, I find the coloring interesting as it goes on.
Okay.
Because to me, it looks like a 90s movie from, like when it's all set at night, and there's a lot of, light coming in windows. Like, the amount of color on people's faces, I find interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that it needs to be dark, like, it's kind of the point, but, I don't know. It was just kind of bland and boring.
Yeah. But the comic's good.
Yeah, the story's great.
Don't let that put you off, people. At least negative comments, being a negative Nancy over here.
I'm mostly wrong most of the time.
But yeah, I really enjoy it. That's what I was going to say. The artist, he did some issues of Spider-Man where Spider-Man had like a pot belly.
Oh, yeah.
Like he gives him a really thick torso, which just looks unusual for Spider-Man. So when I heard he was doing this, I was like, oh, not this guy again. But it's really, like, it works when he's not doing superheroes.
I feel like it should be pretty easy to draw superheroes, just because, like, it's going to be pretty consistent. They're all very muscular, or if they're women, just very busty.
Just all boobs.
And that's all you need to know. Just draw that.
But yeah, so there's a lot of mysteries in Outcast that, spoilers, we still don't have any answers to.
I don't know what's going on for most of it.
Like, we barely know why he can affect some people and why he can't affect others that have been possessed, and I don't know.
Just a quick, overview. Like, it's about this guy who has to deal with demon possession a lot for some reason. And he's not like a supernatural detective or anything. He's just some guy that wants to be left alone, but demons keep possessing people around him. Yeah, a demon possessed his mom when he was a kid and beat the crap out of him.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
We still haven't heard anything about who Kyle's dad is, so that'll probably come up at some point.
Yeah, his dad wasn't around. His mom got possessed, and he finds out that his blood is harmful to possessed people or demons.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, his touch.
Yeah, I was going to say his touch, too.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't affect him as much as others.
Yeah.
I will say one thing from Volume 2. It's just a line that he says, but it raises a question for me. Because, they call him Outcast, the demons. Mm-hmm. And he says, cast out from where? So I'm thinking maybe he's possessed by, an angel or something. That could be a thing. Which, it obviously is just a theory. I do like the idea more of him just being a normal guy. But that is totally possible that he's possessed, but maybe not even possessed, but just kind of like Jesse, it's in his body, but it doesn't affect him in any way other than giving him power.
I mean, there's got to be something about him.
I'm sorry, that's one thing I really liked about Preacher, is that Genesis played literally no role in it. It was literally just Jesse could use the word of God, but Genesis didn't talk through him, it didn't possess him or anything. It just existed.
It was just
and I really liked that.
Big old angel demon baby sitting inside his brain.
Ew. Anyway, Outcast.
And what else to say?
Donnie. There was Donnie.
Was Donnie the guy he beat up?
Yeah, because... and then his adopted sister's husband showed up and also beat him up when he found out it was Donnie.
Because he's a cop. Was it? Did he rape her or did he just abuse her? Okay.
Yeah, well, both.
It seemed kind of vague, at least in the first volume. They were just like
it comes up in volume 2, and they do say rape.
I assumed.
Or he's referred to as a rapist.
Kirkman is not afraid to have people rape each other.
No, not at all.
Okay,
I like that they beat him up.
So that would be every comic I've read written by Robert Kirkman has featured at least one rape.
Yeah, though at least in Invincible they switched it up and had a man get raped by a woman.
Yeah.
Did anyone else I don't think anyone else got raped in Invincible. It's a lot lighter than the other two comics.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later on, when it because it's gotten slowly darker.
Oh, it's okay. He was a little bit older when he got raped.
No, I just mean because it's like a fun superhero comic, but they've been bringing in heavier tones. Like he said the F word for the first time like a year or two ago in the comic. It was very warranted.
I don't recall seeing it as a big deal.
It was like one page. It was the last page of the issue and the volume actually, and it was just the only word in the on the page.
Fudge.
It was like when it was when Robot killed Evil Invincible and Angstrom Levy, and Mark was just in the aftermath and he just went fuck. Yeah. And it was very warranted because of all the carnage he just witnessed, and he was left in an alternate universe.
He's had a crazy life.
But he got back.
Yeah. Well.
And then Robot attacked.
Except now he's, again, somewhere else. Or somewhen else.
Yeah, I'm liking this reboot storyline.
It's interesting. There's only...
It's only 3 issues long.
Yeah, 3 issues, so...
Yeah.
I was thinking they'd already done 2, but they've only done the first one.
Yeah, because, technically 2, just because the
last one
issue
doesn't count.
Before, it just ended with him in the past, I guess. It
doesn't count. That's a prologue. So yeah, Outcast is good. I like it so far. I'm a little bit disappointed now that I know, just finding out now, that there's only one more volume out so far.
Let me look to see when, if there's a release date yet for issue 13.
There better be. But yeah, anything Robert Kirkman has done that I've read so far, I've loved. So
December 1st is the estimated ship date for Outcast 13. But this website is usually a little off, so it could be late this month.
Well, I've still got one volume to go in between. Plus lots of other comics to read.
I read the first volume and then I pretty much waited until the last issue of the second volume was out until I read it all online. And then I went out and bought the volume.
Yeah, well, I didn't know any better. Man, when I catch up with all of the comics I have set to read, which is going to take a long time still, I am just going to be real pissed to have to wait for everything.
Except for the ones that are finished.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, once I've caught up with everything, that is finished.
And now all the Marvel books are like starting at number 1.
Yeah, I still got pretty much all of Secret Wars to read, so that'll hold me over.
I'm still waiting on Spider-Man number 1 by Bendis.
Is it just Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man?
It's Miles.
Ah. So
that's why I'm excited.
Yeah, Miles is alright.
The Amazing Spider-Man series just sucks. I read 1 issue and I was done.
And who's writing that?
It's Dan Slott. Yeah. Which he's like fine as Spider-Man when he's not possessed by Octavius. But it's like he took him out of New York. He's like successful and has like a good life now. It's not fun to read Peter Parker unless he's like a loser.
Spider-Man.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just like some dude now. He's Tony Stark, but I guess a little nerdier. I read Severed. I reread that today.
Okay.
Have you read Severed?
I did once a while back.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I've read it since like 2012.
Yeah, I liked it. It was one of those where like I didn't like it as much just because it was like just a single volume. It didn't.
Yeah.
It seemed like, which they didn't really have anywhere else to go with it, but it wasn't long enough for me to really get into it, I guess.
I just didn't like that there were so many unanswered questions at the end, which I guess makes it more effective.
Yeah, that was fine. Film. That's fine. Just having it.
It's the kind of thing that I'm like, what's going to happen? What is this guy? What is it? But they never tell us.
Yeah. When does it take place?
1916 for the most part.
Okay.
And then it's like 2 or 3 pages in the 1950s.
Yeah. It's about like back in 1916. Was it 2 kids? It's been a while since I've read it.
One kid goes out to find his dad, who's been writing him since he was adopted. And he meets this other kid, Samantha, who's actually looks like a boy, but she dresses like one to not get hassled as much when she's being a hobo. Even though like apparently just everybody back then was super rapey towards young men.
So that didn't help much.
No, like Jack almost gets raped twice in 7 issues.
Who wrote this?
First by this.
Did Kirkman double write this?
It was co-written by Scott Snyder and someone named Scott Tuft, who I don't know who that is, but Scott Snyder.
I do like Scott Snyder.
But like he's on the train in the beginning, and he gets like this dude is like, "Hey, your stuff is mine now," and then throws him off the train. But he like catches a bit on the side, so he stays on. And then on the night, he goes to get his stuff back, and the dude catches him, and he's like, "I thought I threw you off. Well, guess I'll have sex with you." And then his new buddy Sam shows up and gets the guy over the head, and they get away. And then he is with the monster guy, who is like pretending to be this phonograph or whatever salesman named Alan Fisher from Toledo.
But
he works for Victor. He's not at all. He's a guy with sharp teeth.
Yeah, I guess that's really all we know about him. He's just some guy with sharp teeth.
Yeah, and he apparently is centuries old, according to himself. So who knows? And he goes to like take a slash after him and Fisher hanging out in like a bar or something. And this like young girl prostitute is like, "Hey, you want to get up in here?" And he's like, "No, thank you." And her pimp is like, "Well, you don't want to get up in there? Guess I'll have sex with you." And then and then Fisher shows up and like scalps the guy.
It just was not his day.
It was not his like month. I don't know how long that story takes place over, but it was a while.
No, it was probably just a day.
Like apparently rape is just waiting around every corner in 1916.
That's why I've never been.
And then he goes to what he thinks, because his dad's I was about to say a magician, a musician, and the kid plays like a violin or a fiddle or whatever.
He can be 2 things.
I think that's the same thing. That's true. So he goes there and he found his wallet because Fisher killed Samantha because she was like she was like, "Oh, this guy's suspicious. He's not trying to have sex with us." And so she like calls the company that he said he worked for, and they're like, "Where's that guy been? We haven't seen it," because he's pretending to be this dude who he killed. I know I'm throwing a lot of concepts at you right now. And so she kills him. God damn it, he kills her, and she's got Jack's wallet because he like gave it to her as a sign of trust because it's 1916 and everybody's just raping everybody.
Yeah, I don't trust anyone that much. I wouldn't give you my wallet. There's money in that.
Thank you. So and then he kills her, and then he goes and gets Jack, and he's like, "Oh, I caught your friend trying to sell your I was about to say guitar, your violin. Here you go." And he goes with him, almost gets raped, scalps the dude, and he finds his wallet in Fisher's stuff because he was like, "Oh, if I knew she had your wallet, I would have bought it off her too, and probably had sex with her." And the subtext here is that everybody wants to have sex with everybody in 1916.
Unwillingly, mind you.
Unwilling. It doesn't work if it's not unwilling. I'm Alan Fisher from Toledo. So he finds the wallet and he's like, "Hey, maybe this guy, maybe he's not a good guy." So he takes him to what he says is a recording studio, but it's actually where he's gonna like eat the kid. But the kid's like, "Hey, I found this wallet. Where's Samantha?" And he's like, "Here's an axe." Thunk, and tries to kill the kid. So the kid runs off and he's like, "I'm gonna get you at your dad's house on Route 14. But the kid lied. He lives on Route 2. So he goes to his dad, because Route 14 doesn't exist apparently. Whatever. You'd think that like a traveling monster would know that.
He's been around long enough.
He's been around for like a few years. Unwillingly having sex
memorized.
with people. So he gets to the house and there's a note that's like, "Oh, make yourself at home. There's your room." And the light, I think he like lights a candle, and behind him, just like scratched into the wall, is "Welcome Home, Jack," just everywhere.
Oh, that's nice.
And then it turns out, right? It's so thoughtful. It must have taken a while, and like maintaining an erection the whole time too. So
what do you think he carved it in with?
So the friggin' monster man shows up, like just bursts into the room, sprinting at him with his teeth out. He's like, "Welcome home, Jack." And it turns out that his dad died, because as he's reading the thing that says, like, "Mother deceased," and then it's like, "Father deceased," and that's when you see the "Welcome Home, Jacks." And the monster comes in, and it turns out, he's been riding him to, like, lure him into his mouth, apparently, I guess.
Which seems like a really convoluted plan when he could just find any little hobo child, because there's a lot of them, apparently.
He did explain his plan, basically. When he was hanging out with Samantha and Jack, like when they still thought he was a normal toothed gentleman, he was like, they're like, "How did you get that duck to taste so good?" And he's like, "Well, I met this Oriental fella that said that to cook a duck, you have to treat it like a king. You massage it and feed it beer and be nice to it, and then it tastes better because muscles remember things." And his idea is that to make the children taste better, you like be super nice to them. Like the beginning of the story is him taking this kid, Frederick, under his wing as an apprentice for General Electric. So it's like granting the kid's, desire, and he's getting out of an orphanage, and he's all happy, and then he eats the little bastard. What were you saying?
I was going to say, you laugh that he called someone Oriental, but this was 1916. There are way worse things he could have said.
That's like the best thing he could have called him in the circumstances.
That was progressive.
Well, he's a monster. He doesn't have racist views. He wants to eat humans.
All humans are garbage to him. Sweet.
Though the only three
garbage.
humans that we saw him eat were white children. So he takes Jack into the basement, ties him up, and like cuts his arm off. And his mom shows up, and she's like, his adopted mom, whatever, Catherine. She's like, "I've been looking for my son, Mr. Brakeman," because she thinks he's the dad because he's at the dad's house, which is weird that would be under his name since he's been dead for like 11 years. Anyway.
I see you've got all these "Welcome Back, Jack" posters made out of the walls.
Into the wall. Oh, is that an erection? So she's like, "I'm looking for my son. He ran away from home. Have you seen him, Mr. Brakeman?" He's like, "My name's not Mr. Brakeman. Come on in." And he gives her some tea, and it like is about to knock her out, and then Jack escapes from the ropes, somehow not dead from blood loss.
Yeah, did he tie it off or something?
With like a belt, I think.
Or did he solder it? Like
I don't know, actually. He might have, but there's a picture of him hung up, and there's like a pretty sizable puddle of blood next to him. So he's like, come on, Mom, let's get out of here. And he takes his mom out to a car, and he's like, I got some unfinished business. He's a 12-year-old with one arm, like a freshly lost arm.
Yeah, but it's 1916. That's like being a 30-year-old with like half an arm missing.
That's like a couple fingers missing in today's pansy society. So he goes back in with like a knife, and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Fisher, they're gonna kill you!" And he like knocks a shelf over on him and lights the house on fire. And then it's the whole story is like a flashback because he's in the 50s, he's like an older fat guy, and he's got one arm. And the framing narration is like, I tell people I lost my arm in the war. Even my wife doesn't know. And his grandson comes in at the beginning, and he's like, "Hey, Grandpa, some guy told me to give you this." And he looks and he's like, "Where is he?" And then it tells the whole story. And at the end of the last issue, it shows what he got, and it was a picture that he lost in the fire that he set on this guy. And the dude is out there, like in the street, and then he just disappears, and he runs out into the street, and he's like, "Oh, you're still out there," and that's how it ends.
But he doesn't want to finish off the boy. He just wants to scare him a little bit.
Because he's old now. That's not going to taste good. He's going to taste like a scrotum.
Then why bother?
Just to mess with him. I don't know. Maybe he's implying that he's going to get his kid, his grandkid, whatever. But then it's also like, why not just get his kids? Because obviously he had kids.
Yeah, maybe he did.
He didn't have to wait so long. Maybe his kids died in childbirth.
Under mysterious circumstances.
But also had their own kid.
During childbirth?
Yeah, during their childbirth.
They work fast.
They work real fast. It's also the product of incest. They were twins.
Ugh. Lannisters. It's a Game of Thrones joke. You wouldn't get it.
No, I wouldn't. So yeah, horror comics. Tell us about Lock and Key.
Lock and Key, which I just started reading, is really good. Really enjoying
Stephen King's son, right?
Yeah, Joe Hill, Stephen King's son.
I think you mean Joe King.
And it's illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez, who I had not heard of before, and I don't love his art.
I probably don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
He makes everyone's chins real big.
Like Howard Jacob?
Kind of, yeah. But I just finished the second volume, and it doesn't really bother me anymore. It's pretty easy to get used to. Just kind of weird at the beginning. But no, it's really good. It definitely it reminds me of Stephen King's writing. So I guess he takes after his dad a bit. Where it's
I think there was going to be a TV show of it at one point, and that kind of fell through.
Yeah,
on like FX.
There's supernatural stuff going on that they don't, or at least so far they haven't like tried to explain too much. It's just like just deal with this.
There's supernatural stuff going on that they do not like.
Well, they do not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about this family, mainly the three kids, 2 sons and a daughter. Who?
How old?
The oldest is 18. The sister is like 15 or 16, and the youngest son is like 10 or maybe younger.
Oh, perfect.
So the two oldest are in high school, and the youngest one's he hasn't been in school at all actually in the comic. So I don't know what's going on with him. But their father is murdered, and so they move across the country back to their like family's home, where they have one of those big mansions like Massachusetts families have. You know, white people.
Yeah, you know, the setting of every ghost story.
Yeah. And their last name is Locke, and the mansion is called the Key House. Because why not? And also the whole story is about locks and keys. But basically there are these magical keys.
So he's got a theme and he's sticking to it.
Pretty much. There are a bunch of magical keys throughout the place that, like, when you put them in a door and unlock the door, it'll do something magic. So, like, there's one where you unlock the door and it'll take you anywhere you want to go. The first one you see is you unlock the door, and then the youngest brother finds this first. If he tries to walk through it, his ghost comes out the other side, and he's just like a ghost, but his body is left behind, and it's just a corpse.
What does it do? Is it just standing there?
No, it falls
or
over.
Does it like
and
crumple?
It
that
crumples.
Makes more sense.
It looks entirely dead. And but then he can just go back into it anytime. But he can go around and sneak around and eavesdrop
So
on
is his
people.
body, like, in a coma, or is it dead? Like, if he goes into it after, like, 20 minutes, will he be brain damaged?
He doesn't seem to be brain damaged by being out of it very long, but he doesn't, like, stay out of it long enough for it to rot or anything, so
Okay.
I don't know if that would happen. He does convince his sister to come watch him do it once, so he goes through, but, like, him falling down dead just looks like him pretending to die. Like, he's just like, bleh, and lies down, but, like, he's dead at that point. His ghost is off doing stuff, and she's like, this isn't funny, quit messing around, and then leaves, and then comes back, and she's like, seriously, this isn't funny, and then he goes back into his body. So she thinks it's just a prank.
Oh, why didn't he just push her through the door?
That'd be pretty shitty.
What if two people go in? Can they, like, when they come back, can they go in each other's bodies?
I don't know, but I bet that's
Got
something
so many questions.
that could probably happen later in. There's one key that I guess going through a door after you open it just gives you an instant sex change. So that's a thing. There's one that it doesn't work on a door. You stick it in the back of your neck and turn it, and your head opens up, and you can see anyone else can look into your head, but also while they're doing so, there's another version of you looking into your head, and it doesn't really make any sense.
That's confusing.
Yeah, it confuses them too. Like, they're looking into his head, and then he's, like, between them, and he's like, yeah, pretty weird, huh? They're like, oh, holy shit. And they look at him, and then the one with the head open is gone. And it's just like, they can't see both of them at the same time, but he's there. And,
is it over?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
6 volumes. Which...
Yeah, the final storyline. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good length for me.
Wait.
Long enough for me to get into it, short enough for me to finish.
Okay, I might have to read it then, if it's already finished. It's 6 volumes.
I definitely recommend it. Real good. It's got real good, I don't know what you call it, like framing or juxtaposition, but like, you know, like in a movie when something will happen in a scene and then it'll cut to another scene where something similar is happening and it just flows really well. Like they do that a lot. So it feels like it was written like a movie. Just, it looks really good, the way the story flows. But got all these nifty keys that do magic shit, and there's still plenty of room for more of the story to unfold and more stuff to be explained.
And it's done, so you don't have to wait.
Yeah, which is the best kind of comic in my opinion. Comics that are already done. Not that I don't like getting a new comic every month, but I just want to finish the story sometimes.
When some sort of apocalypse rolls around, you don't get new issues of anything.
That'll be the first thing I complain about.
Well, yeah, when you're a rapist biker, you're the top of the food chain.
Got nothing else to complain about. So yeah.
So you read any other horror comics?
Let's see, Outcast and Lock and Key I read. Oh, I just started another comic recently that is not so good, called Girls. And
yeah.
It's about
girls?
It's about one girl who lays a bunch of eggs out of which hatch more girls that are identical to her and fully formed. And she or they appear to be aliens, but it hasn't really been explained yet. I've only read the first volume. But it's just, like, a really misogynistic comic.
I'm sorry, did you say misogynistic?
I did.
Like My Sharona?
It's not what that means at all. The main character...
Do you know what the singer intended?
The main character in the first issue goes off on a rant against all the women in this... Like, they live in a small town, and so everyone knows each other, and he just goes off, like, yelling at everyone in the bar, all the women, telling them how they're terrible, and cock teases and whores and all that. And
Does he talk about the friend zone and stuff too? Does he wear a fedora?
What kind of kicks it off is a female friend of his sees that he's looking kind of depressed and comes and sits in his lap and is like, if you ever need to talk or anything, I'm here for you. I'm your friend. And he's like, oh, really? And kisses her. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing? That's not what I said at all." And he's like, "Oh, everyone knows you're just the town slut. You sleep with everyone. That's what you wanted."
What?
Yeah, and she's like, "What the hell? I thought we were friends. Never mind."
What an asshole! Is he the hero?
Yeah, he's the well. I don't know about the hero. Nothing heroic has happened yet.
He's the protagonist.
He is the protagonist so far, and he's a total dick. Which luckily that was the first season, and he hasn't done anything quite as bad as that yet again. But so
is he growing his neck beard, saying "milady" a lot?
He might as well be. He's driving home from that whole altercation where he yells at everyone and finds a woman in the road who is naked, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Oh, maybe I can be friends with her and turn that friendship into tokens for sex.
Surprise! He does. So he is trying to see if she needs to go to the hospital or anything because she's got a bullet wound in her arm. And he's like, "Okay, I'm just going to take you home and give you a place to crash since you're not talking to me."
I assume.
Yeah, that night or the next day, she comes on to him and he's like, "Well, all right, guess we're doing this," even though the only lines of dialogue she has is just parroting something that someone else has said. Like, she can only repeat the last line he has said. So it's very clear that...
She's like an idiot.
Yeah, she's not in a state of mind to be consenting to sex. And he's like, "Well, alright." So then she lays a bunch of eggs in his bathroom, and a bunch of other hers pop out. Luckily, the sheriff and the main character's ex-girlfriend are there to see that, so no one thinks he's... Well, at least two people don't think he's crazy and know what's actually going on. But, basically all we know is that these women just start attacking any other women they see. They leave the men alone, pretty much. So, they are hot women who are always naked, and they don't talk, and they beat up other women who do talk. And I'm worried that that's the writer's view of a perfect woman. He just seems to see them as monsters. Which kind of goes along with the other comic that you mentioned that, or I guess the artist had worked on. Not the writer, but, what was it? Adam and...
Oh, Alex and Ada.
Alex and Ada. Which is about a guy who gets an android woman.
He just did the art. He doesn't write it.
Well, for girls, it's these two. They're both brothers, and it said that they both worked on the story.
Yeah, the Luna brothers.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that the way that Alex and Ada was advertised was it was him because he's I guess he was already famous for comics, which is not actual real person famous.
Unless you're really famous. Like Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Neil
Maybe
Gaiman,
Grant Morrison.
Frank Miller.
Yeah. Nice. But yeah, he it's touted like he did the whole thing, but it's some woman wrote it, and then he just does the art.
Well, see, now when you say it like that, it just sounds like he had her tied up somewhere and made her write it.
Give me a story.
Yeah. No, when I looked it up, the description was... The description was, this guy gets a female android and decides whether or not he wants to keep her. This guy is not seeing women as people.
He does seem to be very uncomfortable with the idea of having a sex robot, and he basically jailbreaks it so that she has sentience, and then he has sex with her when she's sentient. And after a while too, it's not immediately
you're
sentient now, let's phone.
Just
it's they form a relationship and then they have sex with each other.
All right.
But it only lasted it was 15 issues, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be more actiony, but whatever.
Well, I haven't, like I said, I've only read the first volume of Girls, so I'm hoping it will get better in terms of on the bright side, they don't. None of the other characters are like that. Everyone is clearly against the main guy. They're like, wow, he is a piece of trash. I came to this town to get away from prejudice and bigotry and terrible people. So everyone else, no one else is on his side. But I don't know. Maybe he'll redeem himself by the end. Any other horror comics you want to talk about?
Yeah, Afterlife with Archie.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna say there aren't that many horror comics really. It doesn't seem to be a genre that's
I'm sure there's like
used that much.
plenty, just not many that are
well known.
Yeah. So yeah, Afterlife with Archie is really good.
Yeah, had you read any Archie comics before that?
Yeah, I have like a stack of old like Archie and Jughead double digests. They're awesome.
I never.
Shut up.
No, that's fine.
They're so wholesome and fantastic.
I
Especially Jughead. He just wants burgers, and sometimes he's a time cop. Don't worry about it.
All right. Feel like I should. Sounds like a threat.
But yeah, Afterlife with Archie is really good. Because it's like the Archie characters, but they're humans as opposed to like they don't like still live in the 50s. They're not like, oh golly, gee whiz,
caricatures of the
Mr.
50s.
Weatherby. Yeah, they're just like those basically the same names and then basic character archetypes, but with human personalities and stuff. And they swear zombies. Sometimes. Also zombies, and they kill stuff. So it's not just like a wholesome, oh, we have to kill or we have to beat the zombies with the power of friendship. It's like, let's bash their heads in, guys.
Let's fuck them up.
Hashtags. So it's really good. I didn't expect that.
I was definitely surprised.
The only problem is that there's only been like 7 or 8 issues out, and it's been coming out for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's one that. Do you know of any plans for it to continue, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, I mean, there's a listing for Volume 2 on Amazon, which has more volumes or more issues than there are currently out, and its release date is January. So we'll see.
I guess that's how it's going to happen. Just all at once in the volume.
Because I think it's supposed to be through issue 10 or 11, and I want to say only 8 is out so far, and I don't know what the hell's taking so long. Apparently, I heard that the artist was in some sort of accident, but that was like a long time ago.
Like before he started writing, I assume? Or before he started drawing it?
I think it was in the middle of, but I heard it.
No. I'm making fun of his art.
Oh, I like his art.
I think it's all right for this series. Any other time I've seen his art, I have not liked it.
All right, number 8 has come out. I'm loading up the page for number 9. That one has not come out, but it has a listing for November 10th, but also previous crossed out listings for May 5th and April 28th. So who knows when that one's coming out?
Maybe never.
Maybe never. We'll see. But I love the comic. It just really sucks that it never comes out. Like, it's such a good comic, and that seems to be the thing. It's like the best comics take forever, and there's not really a reason for it.
But that scene in Afterlife with Archie with the dogs.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
It's fucking brutal.
And then he also had to kill his dad afterwards.
Yeah, that was less sad.
It's still kind of sad.
It's definitely a good comic, but also, if you really want to read it, maybe wait until there's more of it out.
Yeah, at least wait until Volume 2 is out, if ever.
Yeah. There's also been a couple of good horror storylines in DC and Marvel. Like, most of Animal Man was horror.
Yeah. Scott Snyder did some detective comics right before the New 52, where it was Dick Grayson as Batman. Actually, the Afterlife with Archie artist did some of it. Francisco Francavilla, I think his name is. That was pretty... Because those weren't really Batman stories that he did the art for. They were like Commissioner Gordon dealing with his crazy-ass son.
I like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, it worked a lot there, like the art, because it was like very like noirish, and it was dark. It was like an old like horror movie where it's more psychological. And then I think Jock did the art for the actual Batman parts, which was like Dick Grayson. I think he was fighting this group of like wealthy people that bought crazy things, and he woke up and thought that like his legs had been cut off. It was a whole thing.
Death of the Family.
Yeah, Death of the Family was really good for horror.
Yeah. What was it? The scene... It was like when the Joker first shows up and he's at the police station.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Turns the lights on and off, slowly making his way through, killing the cops one by one. That was scary.
And when he tells Gordon that he sometimes lies under his bed all night.
Yeah. Do you think that was the truth? You think he was just screwing up?
I don't know. Even if it wasn't, like, how long do you think it was until Gordon could, like, comfortably sleep in his bed again?
I mean...
Because then, during Endgame, Joker did crawl out from under his bed.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if he could sleep there before, he won't now.
I mean, he must have been under there at least once, because he knew where Commissioner Gordon hid his cigarettes.
Yeah.
Which was under, like, in the netting under the bed.
Can you imagine that? Just finding out that the Joker has been lying under your bed at least once while you were asleep.
Building down.
There's no saving it. God.
With no face as well.
Ugh.
What if he looked?
He probably would have died.
I don't know, he probably could have shot... I feel like Gordon, if he's going to look under his bed, he's probably going to have his gun out.
No, of a heart attack, I mean.
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah.
God. I mean, if I were Gordon in that situation, I probably would have, I don't know, like put in some bricks under the bed, like with mortar and everything, just completely fill it in. And
just fill in the windows and pour the cement through his ears and nose and mouth and just stop.
Just give in to the darkness.
Give up.
What else? Any other horror comics you've read?
I mean, Walking Dead. It's a horror comic.
I keep forgetting that Walking Dead is horror.
The big one smacking us in the face. You know what? I would love if Telltale did a Hellblazer game, like the Walking Dead games and the Fables game. That would be rad as hell.
I mean, I haven't really read any Hellblazer, but I know enough of it to think that would probably be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Maybe they'd actually pronounce his name correctly.
They wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't. I know for a fact they wouldn't, but I can hold out hope that one day there will be a movie or a TV show that will pronounce his name correctly.
Is Justice League Dark still going to be a movie?
Yeah, but Guillermo del Toro is only going to be a producer now.
You know who's directing?
No, I feel like they did say, but I don't remember. But Guillermo del Toro does not pronounce it correctly either.
Yeah, but he's Mexican, so it's okay.
So it's not.
It's just an accent he has.
I feel like he would be like a stickler for pronouncing people's names correctly because his name is Guillermo.
No, Guillermo.
Yeah, that's gotta be something he runs into all the time. People going like, Guillermo? Guillermo? No, Guillermo. Like, just pronounce Constantine's name right. Just do it.
Constantine.
So
it's gonna be a big screw you when they like retcon it so that is how his name is pronounced in the comics.
I'm waiting. I haven't finished his first series for the New 52, and there's another one that's already started. I haven't read that one either. I'm sure. I'm willing to bet there's like a page somewhere where someone's like Constantine, and he's like, no, it's Teen.
Always has been, always will be.
I've heard. I can't remember who it was. It might have been. I don't think it was Jeff Johns, but it might have been. It was somebody who writes for DC that pronounced it Constantine, and I was like, oh, that's no good. You're writing. You're a writer. You should know how the character's name is pronounced. Like, it wouldn't be such a big deal if it had only ever been like writers who had said it. But the fact that he's pronounced it in the confines of the comic as Constantine,
but that only happened once, right?
That's it wrong. Twice.
Was it the same writer both times?
No, I don't believe so.
I'm just wondering if
I know it happened. It happened with Jamie Delano, the first writer, and then I think it happened again later on, sometime after Garth Ennis.
And also, if it had been just like one writer just taking their own chance.
Well, the original artist has pronounced it as Constantine, and he was the one who wrote it, or he was the one who drew it. Like he wrote it after Alan Moore, but he was the artist when Alan Moore was doing it. So he was working with Alan Moore. So if he's saying it's Constantine, he's obviously getting it directly from the source. And if Alan Moore says it's Constantine, even if everybody else says Constantine, Alan Moore created the character, and the character's name is Constantine.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what like the popular pronunciation is.
Pretty much all you need to
he's
know.
A fictional character, so his name is pronounced how the writer says it's pronounced.
The original writer.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's about all the time we have for today. The spooky episode.
Ooh.
Our just barely missing Halloween episode.
Yeah, our November episode.
Thanks for listening. I'm Luke.
Yep. I'm Dane.
And we're great. We've been great. We're fantastic. Bye.
Bye.